All right, time for another episode of the Josh Cast. I'm re-recording this. I tried recording it earlier in the day, and I was not happy with the product. But the question is, was the product okay? And I'm just suffering from perfectionism. No, it is not, because the product was not what I wanted to say. There were things I didn't want to say in that podcast. So in this podcast, I'm trying to change that up by making sure I'm only saying what I want to say. Here at the Joshcast. Joshcast, brought to you by fatigue. It's never going to get better. You'll never get enough sleep. Fatigue. It's what you need. It's not what you need. I don't know where that came from. I'm tired of saying I don't know where that came from. I know where that came from. I am tired. I am tired. And I was also reminded of a time in middle school when we were taken to see an opera. They took middle school kids to see an opera. I feel like that is like taking a cat that is in heat and forcing it to read Jane Austen. That's what it feels like. Okay, it's nothing against Jane Austen. Nothing against opera. But I'm saying those two elements may not work well together. Oh my gosh. I should love opera. I feel like I'm the kind of person that does love opera because I don't like loud noises and I don't like parties. I'm the kind of person who is sitting at home at a Sunday at 4, stroking a cat, listening to Puccini. Or is it Puccini? Listening to Mozart. I'm listening to Mozart. Going, yes, yes. Do you hear the Allegra? Do you hear the Allegato? The legato? There's a lot of legato there. Wow. We went full out on the legato there. Full out. And I remember that when I went to see, here's the two things I remember about that opera, is that they had subtitles, and so I would watch the person sing, and I would look up at the subtitle, and the person would sing, and whatever the part of the song they were singing would last, it felt like 5 minutes. And then I would look at the subtitle, and the subtitle would say, yeah, I think you're right. 5 minutes to go to say, yeah, I think you're right. La natura maravura, la rasigna copara ceno, la batira si batura, dambote ha ha himanosoro, on hapa on sumboya, di sumba batuya, ahundaya. Translation, that was some good soup. So, the other thing I remember was we had to wear ties. And right after the opera was over, I turned to the teacher and I say, can I take off my tie? And she got upset with me. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I do believe that it was something to the effect of, you are going to finish wearing your tie, you're going to finish the day wearing your tie like a mature adult. And I believe that is where I developed my hatred of ties. I hate the concept that a tie is what makes you a mature adult. Here's my question. If I put back on the tie and I spent the next 5 minutes cursing the woman out, would I be technically throwing a temper tantrum? Or, because I was wearing the tie, would I then be, as a mature adult, simply expressing my opinion in a colorful way? That is my question, Your Honor. We don't wear ties because we want to wear ties. We wear ties because we're trying to suck up to the judge. Ultimately, that is the only reason why we wear ties. I rest my case, Your Honor. having a sip of my lemon chamomile tea. Can't have the caffeine tea anymore because it upsets my bladder. So now I'm drinking chamomile. I'm drinking chamomile, and it's not strong enough to calm me down. It's the tea that people drink when they're trying to fall asleep. It's the tea when they're like, you need to calm down. Why don't you have some chamomile tea and calm down? Take off the tie, have some chamomile tea. You'll feel much better. It was all right. No, he was very upset, but then I gave him some chamomile tea, and he took off his tie, and now he's sleeping comfortably. You're not going to have to worry about it. It's fine. The chamomile tea solved the problem. I assure you. Don't worry. The president is fine. And when I say president there, I'm not trying to make any political statements about any current president. I'm saying this about all presidents. That's why they wear the tie. Obama was the only president who was so in control he could not wear the tie. He felt confident enough not to wear a tie because he could maintain his cool. Anyone else? You got to wear that tie because if they say something crazy, you want to be able to say, well, yeah, he said something crazy, but he was wearing a tie. Ergo, it was from a place of maturity. Sip of chamomile tea? Why, don't mind if I do. Feeling better about how this version of the podcast is going than the last version. But I suspect it will not be as long. So the last time I asked you tweet your least favorite 19th century novel. And the tweet that I got was Mark Twain, which was a surprise to me. I was not expecting Mark Twain to be a least favorite. I've only read Huckleberry Finn, which I enjoyed. But I respect and honor the person's opinion that they're not a fan of Mark Twain. That's always tough. That is very tough. It's tough to not like a classic. Because there's this societal pressure that's saying, well, I'm supposed to like this, but I don't, because they say it's a classic. But here's what I'll say about 19th century American literature. Is it a classic because it's really good, or is it a classic because there were like only 5 guys writing in the 19th century? Very ignorant of me to say that, but that's what I'm wondering. Is Nathaniel Hawthorne that great, or was he only competing with 2 other people in whatever Western Massachusetts cabin they were all living in? I don't know why I'm throwing shade at Western Massachusetts. When I did a internship, I don't know why I'm saying I don't know why. When I know why. Hawthorne. Too many sentences to describe that something like, okay, she reminded me of a flower. That took 3 chapters of The Scarlet Letter. The daughter reminded Hester of a flower. That 3 chapters. 3 chapters. All it needed to be is, hey, I'm Hester. I've got this illegitimate daughter. She reminds me of this friggin' flower. Next chapter. All right, I'm making a living working I'm sewing things for people, and I live in the country. Even more so in the country, because it's all the country right now, because we're in the 1600s Massachusetts. But I do needlework. I'm doing needlework. Is it great? No, but I'm paying the bills. Chapter 4. I'm Reverend Dimsdale. I feel guilty. Feel guilty. Chapter 5. Dimsdale. Still guilty. Chapter 6. Hester pricked. Her name was Hester Prynne, not Hester pricked. That was me projecting something. Chapter 6. Uh-oh, my husband's back. Chapter 7. Uh-oh, the husband's slowly poisoning the Reverend, and the Reverend may or may not know about it, but feels guilty. Chapter 8. Reverend visits Hester. Hey, maybe we should go. Hester's like, yeah, let's go. The Reverend says, no, we can't go. Chapter 9. Reverend says, I did it! This is my daughter, and I carved an A in my chest. Chapter 10. Hester lives out the rest of her life being a therapist. End of story. There it is. I did it. Scarlet letter. I did it. Cliff notes. Done. But it's missing the poetry, Joshua. It's missing the poetry. I don't care. I'm not wearing a tie right now, so I'm allowed to have these opinions. And they are immature opinions. Reverend Dimsdale, normally we would condemn you for fathering this child. But because you fathered the child while you were wearing a tie, we're going to let it go. Alternate tie-themed ending to the Scarlet Letter right there. All right, we got to tweet something else. What are we focused on? What's the next topic? The next topic is card designs. Cars you like, cars you hate, cars. We're talking cars. We're talking cars in the next podcast. Cars! Possibly with or without ties.